Tina Traster from the Rockland County Business Journal. Good morning. Where'd you go? Hold on. Tina, you there?
Yes, I am.
All right, there you are. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to you, and good morning to Rockland County. Yep. How is everybody today?
Oh, well, we haven't taken a survey yet of all of them, but the ones that we've spoken to are all right.
All right. That sounds like a good outcome so far. We put up a story last week, as I'm sure you well know, about your newest talent.
I saw that. Thank you very much. Well done. I appreciate that.
The John and Kat Show. And, I want to say that kudos for having those youngsters on your show. I think the youth voice is so very important. I mean, we have a millennial generation that is dealing with an economic and workforce challenge like no other generation ever has, and the navigation of school and distance learning. I mean, the younger generation always has unique issues, or at least deals with the world in unique ways. But I think it's just so important to hear what people in their 20s are thinking about. And I hope the show is a success. I hope it can go past the summer, and I really hope that it brings youth to the station, and also to that we just hear more from. I feel like here in Rockland County we don't hear very much from that age group. Wouldn't you say that's about right? Anyone?
I don't know. I'm sorry. Jeff is recording news, and I got somebody on the line.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was saying that we don't hear enough from from the youth, and I'm glad that you have some youngsters on the show. Anyway, I was also going to just talk about the story from last week that we put up on Friday about Sur La Table closing. That's yet another store at the shops at Nanuet. And, it was interesting to see the response to that particular closing. I mean, all the store closings, I think they rack up an emotional toll. There are people, for one reason or another, who like a particular store, or who can just see the trend, and it's very disturbing.
Wait a minute, because I'm being so distracted this morning. What is the name of the store?
Sur La Table, and it really, as far as I can think, it was really the only kitchen specialty store left in Rockland County. If somebody else can think of a store that is specifically for the kitchen and the table, send me an email or call into the station. But I think this was it. We used to have I guess Williams-Sonoma was here many years ago, maybe I think in the Palisades. But this is just another death knell. It's a death knell for the shops at Nanuet. I mean, the shops at Nanuet is looking pretty ghostly, pretty frightening. There's some buzz about how Simon is going to redevelop that mall, and just like every other mall developer is saying, we'll bring in a hotel, we'll bring in convention, we'll bring in the go-tos to try to deal with this retail crisis. But this store, Sur La Table, a lot of the other stores that closed, there's a lot of duplication. The home goods stores, the clothing stores, there's so many of them. But this was a more unique kind of retailer. I mean, where can you go if you need a whisk? Yes, you can go to Bed Bath. Okay, I'll even more specific. Like, where can you go if you need a pan for popovers? Not Bed Bath and Beyond. Not some big Kohl's. This was a specialty store, and this store fulfilled a purpose. And not only that, but it also they had cooking classes, and I think that I could see that the response to not just yet another store closing, but this particular store closing feels painful. And I might have some bias here. I have a very strong interest in cooking and baking myself, But I can tell you that the response to this closing was, it was visceral. You could really feel the pain for this one.
Did you imply that Simon is already thinking about modifying the whole concept of this Shops at Nanuet, or did I miss something?
Yeah, of course they are. I mean,
this has only been around 8 years. I think they finished the construction in 12 or 13.
I know, but these guys who seem so smart and have so much data available to them, and have just endless amounts of money, couldn't foresee the trends. This demise of retail didn't start or isn't going to end with the pandemic. This predates the pandemic by quite a few years. This was coming. We have been reporting on this consistently. So anybody who's been reading Rockland County Business Journal will not be surprised. But the pandemic has, it's kind of like it lit the fuse. It was like an accelerant on a small fire, and it's definitely, now it's more like a wildfire. And the closings are every day instead of maybe once every couple of weeks. And so, we've also been reporting that it's looking likely that I think I can't say with 100% certitude, but it's looking like there will be. I want to say that there probably will be a referendum held in November on the Palisades Center, and that covenant that will allow them to expand their extra space. So, the talking point for every mall developer across the country is to mix it up. Pre-pandemic, it was a mixture: hotel, convention, residential, and experiential. Anything that was going to give the consumer an experience, and that usually involved the sort of entertainment that was fine before we had to social distance. So now, with the pandemic and all the uncertainty surrounding that, I think mall developers are talking just more specifically about hotel, convention, housing, and anything that might be viable going forward in order to redevelop their spaces. The Simon Mall, it's the saddest thing, but it cannot survive in its current format.
A listener called, and that's why I'm distracted. A lot of people calling. But anyway, we used to rail on the fact that, I forget who my partner was at the time, when they announced this was going to be an upscale a business enterprise, and Alex Gromack was the supervisor of the town, and he touted the fact, well, it's going to be upscale. He used to like to use that word, upscale. I said, you know what? More people are not, there are very few in this county are upscale. If they lived anywhere else on the incomes that they were making here, they'd be way upscale, but not around here because it's so damn expensive to live. And I said, I don't think this place can survive, and most of our listeners didn't either. Now, 8 years, am I right about the time, it was a time frame here, it's 8 years, wasn't it?
That sounds about right, because I know how long I've been here.
We had to leave the Nanuet Mall in December of, I think it was December of 2011.
That's about right. Yeah, I still remember the Nanuet Mall, so that's about right.
So 8 years, man, that's not a long time. And they built all those individual stores, and now all of a sudden they're thinking, hey, wait, this isn't going to work. Well, as Gracie just said, we tried to tell them it wasn't going to work, and nobody listened.
Well, I don't know if it was because there was too much duplication between the two malls. Look, there's no doubt that there is wealth here in this county. And it may not be the bulk of the demographics, but when you factor in Sneeden's Landing and Palisades and South Nyack and parts of Nyack and parts of Stony Point and New City there are pockets of extreme wealth here in this county.
Even though they're not going to carry you as a business.
Well, it might not have been enough. It might have been that the two malls plus all of the retail. I think it's probably a case of saturation. There was just too much.
Yep.
And I think also the mall, the shops at Nanuet, probably needed to be more interesting to attract
They modeled it after Woodbury Common. It, for whatever reason, worked up there, but it didn't work here.
No, I mean, but you know, it's not just the mall. I mean, it's you're going to see this all along the corridor in Nanuet, and you're going to see it. Well, of course, in the Palisades. I don't know what this is all going to look like when it all shakes out. But shaking out, it will, and. The bottom line is that I think we're going to be very challenged from a tax perspective. The citizens here are going to be very challenged.
So what's the head story before we have to go here that you want people to look at?
Well, we're going to put up some news stories today. So it's just go to rcbizjournal.com.
rcbizjournal.com. It's updated probably every day, maybe even several times a day.
Yes.
So there's always something new every time you check it out.
Yep, that's right.
All right, Tina, thanks a lot.
Have a great